talking about. Hello, here we are.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, hello out there. So, this is actually, it's already our fourth episode out of 10. Like, time flies, I can't stand this. And we are talking about season three. And her name is Imogen, which we were just saying it's like Imogen or Omogen, right?
No,
Tear.
Imogen.
Okay. What does it? Say it again.
Imogen.
Imogen. And she was our guest until a last minute email came through that she's only 18 and she's at uni and something happened at school. So we're like, okay, all right. So we're still going to talk about her. And she had a wonderful role. And I'm very disappointed that she isn't here, but you got to roll with it, right? Yes, Miss Kathy?
Yeah, I thought you were talking to the group.
I
Yeah,
am, but I'm just asking you to agree. That's all.
I'm just rolling with the punches.
Rolling with the punches. So before we get started, let's talk about her role in Hattie. I think she comes in at not season, episode 4 or 5. She's not right away. And what I loved about her little character, actually, I'm going to share this with us real quick. There, I took this straight off my TV. Okay. She comes in with this gorgeous little dress, and she's from Hamilton. She's from Elizabeth's neck of the woods. And she's kind of like a meanie. Good actress, though. Amazing. She had a really serious storyline because her meanness, if anyone remembers out there, her meanness is because she had someone, what was her friend, right? Her best friend or good friend die.
Afraid to
Yeah.
get close to anyone new.
Yeah. And when she comes in, they don't have enough books for her. And she's like, oh, at my old school, we all had our own books. And she's like, well, yours will be coming. And she sits her with Anna and she's like, I don't want to sit near her. So then Anna's like, oh, I like your dress. And she's like, just because I'm sitting with you doesn't mean we could be friends. Like she was just like out and out rude and mean. But of course, Elizabeth working her teacher magic gets to the root of what's going on. And then your heart breaks for her. She's a good actress. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember she and Ava Grace and her brother Christian. I think they all were at an like a award ceremony. I think she won some awards as a young actress. She's really yeah, she is. Lillian's saying she arrived in season 4 if you don't count the two-part New Year's episode. You're right. So I was excited to have her on because she's been in a lot of things. So you should look her up. She has a lot of stuff like on ABC, CBS, that kind of thing if you're in the States. She's played she had another I'll post it, but she had a series that she was on just recently too. And she looks a little different, but she doesn't. She kind of looks like a longer, like taller, she's tall version of herself. And I was curious because if she was on, I wanted to ask what she thinks happened to her character. Sorry, I'm in my pajamas already. Right, Kathy, do you remember she was on for like season 3 and 4 and then 5, I even think, and then she was gone.
They
And they
never gave an explanation. I don't think. I think
no,
like some of the other kids, she just kind
yeah,
of fell off
black
the
hole.
landscape. Mm-hmm.
Or we keep the kids and lose the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. So what did you want? Yes, Arlene's saying she was um oh, talks about the family she worked with. Thought she had money. Okay. So tell me about, and well actually let's address those now. Arlene was saying, yes, she did give that air. I thought she was rich until Elizabeth talks with her mother, who tells her she worked for a rich family until Hattie's friend Jane, their daughter, passes. That's right. Yep. And she puts on that air.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is Lillian saying that she arrived in episode 4 if we don't count the two-part New Year's Eve episode. And you are correct. I agree with you, Brian, that her meanness definitely was a defense mechanism.
She's a very good actress to be able to portray just the mean, spiteful little girl. And then as soon as we know what the truth is, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is why she was doing it. And then she softens up, and it was kind of cool to watch that transformation.
It was. I was so excited when she was coming on. I was like, "Woo! Great actress for a child." When she came in, Hattie. Yes, yes, true. And you could tell that there was something underlying as to why she was acting that way. Yeah, that's true. I agree. I liked her. I thought that maybe she was older and kind of too old for school. Um, the character? No, the character didn't, like, you know how they age out, like they graduate, like Anna did and Robert did. I don't think she did. She was tall for her age, but I don't think that she did. Hmm. If anyone has ever had any, what? I'm a little hesitant to ask because I don't want to be negative, but just wondering if anyone has ever had any problems with their when goes the heart. Oh, you know what? I will star that and we will talk about that in a little bit. Okay. All right. All righty. Okay. Talk to me. What did you think about this season? What stood out for you, Kathy?
The kids, I mean, we've kind of already touched on it, and that's why we were, hoping that Imogen would be able to join us.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed the interaction with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Was it season 3? There were also a couple of boys, or at least one boy, that
Mm-hmm.
was troubled. His uncle was raising him. His uncle was a railroad exec, and
That's four.
or
That's
okay,
it's
so
coming. It's
about the
coming. Yeah.
next time, yeah. But I don't know. I just really enjoyed the kids. They just seemed to play more of a role, and I miss that. In later seasons, it's like all about the adults. I also would love to. Well, they're doing it kind of with Robert, but as the kids age out of school, as they can, I'd love to see them have some more adult storylines or teen
Mm-hmm.
storylines.
Yeah.
One of them could be the next Jesse.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
We were introduced to some amazing characters in this season, and they stayed with us for a while. And we there Christina or somebody was saying there was a lot of action. There really was. There was that whole, remember what went on with Pastor Frank? Like, I know.
she said the magic words. Woo!
All right. So remember his past came, and we had Jesse trying, like, we thought he was going to be bad, but here he was trying to, like,
Well,
be
he
good.
thought it was going to be bad until the very, the peak
Yeah.
of the episode, and he couldn't go through with it. So yeah.
And they have to arrest the gang, and that happens pretty early on. And then the story with the whole mudslide, we get to meet Jack's mom when she comes into town. We also, Faith comes back and she stays. We also have Henry, remember, with the crash, and he gets injured. There's like so much, like the writing was so very much different in those first few years. I really saw that. I mean, not I'm different, not saying I prefer one over the other, but there are some things I do prefer, and I like how action packed it was, how at the end of that episode the story is kind of complete, but not all the way. But for the most part, it's a complete story. Like, do you know what I
It,
mean?
absolutely. And I'm remembering now because I was taking little nuggets as I watched or rewatched.
Right.
I kept going, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I love that part. And so there were little nuggets. And for me, it's always, I go for the humor. I like to see the, what makes me smile or what makes me laugh. And you mentioned Charlotte Thornton and how her with cooking and using a ton of lard and everything, and Jack introducing them. And I forget what the context is now, but um, oh, she'll make something she can't cook either. And they're like, excuse me. I think it was Elizabeth who said, what do you mean either?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like the two of them. He's like, oh, okay. Like they would get along famously. I
Yep.
love the part where it's real early and you see them coming around, right? And it's Elizabeth early in the morning with Jack's mom, and Jack's riding on his horse, and she's like, oh yeah, yeah. She goes, oh, we didn't see anybody. She's, yeah, your mother said we were up at 5 again. And she told me how she walked through 10 feet of snow. He goes, oh, 10 is it? I thought it was 5 when I was little. And you're like, sass to me, she says. I know. I thought there was like great chemistry between her as his mom with the actor. They were just really cute together. Then we've got the wedding. Like we have the whole wedding that goes down, and Rosemary's a hot mess. We have Lee who gets hurt. I mean, there was a lot. A
Well, the
lot.
wedding, you talked about Rosemary's wedding.
Yes.
Well, again, didn't she turn out to be, that's where we first started to get a hint that she could think of others rather than herself,
Absolutely.
because she gave away her entire wedding
Yes, she
trousseau.
did.
I don't even know what trousseau means, but she gave away all her wedding stuff,
Yes.
and they still managed to give her a great wedding.
Yes, it was still sweet. And then, of course, we've got Cody and Becky come into Abigail's life, and it that I love that. And as a matter of fact, the auntie who comes and she wants, she realizes what happened and she's going to take them away. Do you know who that actress was that played
It's
her?
not coming to mind. It wasn't Gail O'Grady, was it?
It's DeLuise. It's his wife. It's Peter DeLuise's wife.
Oh, no
Like the
kidding.
auntie. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well, she was a meanie until she had her change of
Kind of,
heart.
yeah. Different lifestyle, like, she had money, one looked down on all, what was going on, but then she saw that, yes, it was Peter's wife. I really was like, loved them. I'm gonna share with you just some fun things that I picked up besides that one. This one, and I took these straight off from my TV. This scene had so much going on that I love. So Lee gets hurt. That's part of that whole sabotage story. He hurts his foot, has like an open wound. Faith comes in. She's going to come and help take care of, what's going on. They asked for a doctor, but he was busy. So Faith comes in. So we've got Elizabeth a little bit jealous of Faith. And then she finds out, oh, you have a fiance, and then she feels a little bit better when she finds out Faith has a fiance. So she comes up to dress his wound, and Rosemary's over the top, driving him insane. And when she sees her, she goes, "Oh, I played a nurse on the stage." And then Faith says to her, "Oh, what a coincidence! I treated an actress for a pink eye." And Lee busts out laughing. And then she doesn't let her do her job. So she notices the bell and says, "Oh, can you go down the hallway, see how
Yes,
things?" Shuts the door and locks her out. I mean, she was like a little spicy, but Faith, I loved it. I thought that was great. It cracked me up.
she kind of lost some of that tang, as the years went on.
She did. Why?
I don't know.
I like that about her. And Lee loved it. He cracked up laughing. He thought it was great. I loved it too. We're gonna skip that, but something else that I liked about this season was they weren't afraid again to tackle serious things. Like that first season, they tackled that whole why little Rosalie didn't speak, and there was that guy, that gentleman. Well, he wasn't a gentleman. He was like, I guess, a town drunk, but it almost as if they thought he kidnapped her, and how like they had that undertones of seriousness. So now no one dies, and if they die, we would never see it. Now we have this gentleman here. He's the one that gets hurt in the mine, right? And all of them were out there, and those people. I don't think that that's like makeup. I think that's real mud, because when you looked at that scene, it was so muddy out there for real. Like it was all over them, their clothes. But there he is with his eyes, staring, and Frank's over him talking to him, and he dies. He said, "I know I'm going home, but not with you," he says, the pastor, Frank, and he dies, and his eyes are open, and they actually cover him up. We see all that.
Mhm.
They address that. They don't just talk about it off the side, and it kind of made me sad.
They
I was
definitely got less gritty as the
Yeah,
seasons went on.
yeah, yeah. And this is just one of those parts of the scene where they're all covered in mud, and they're literally walking through real rushing water. They didn't, fake that. That's really there on the farm. And they're like knee deep in it sometimes. Even the girls, it was all over their bottom of their dresses, and the women, it was kind of wet and damp and gross. And I wish we one day, when we have some of these actors on, we have to revisit this, because I'm curious to this was like the season of mud or something. It was like a very wet season.
Very gritty.
Yes, I know. This is also when if I go to the next slide. Okay, I'm going to save those slides for a little trivia at the end, and you can win a prize. Um I was also I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say, season 3 was also very much about redemption for a lot of the characters. Pastor Frank, for sure. that he had to re-earn the trust of the townspeople who turned on him very quickly, I might add. Jesse, his whole story of turning from bad boy into good boy.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was jam packed full of goodies.
Even Hattie and how mean
Mhm,
she was. The children had to learn to forgive her, and she had to learn how to be a friend. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
Earn their
Um,
friendship. Yeah,
then the less serious side of it, and I love how it was sprinkled in, it was quite flirty. So we have Frank asking Abigail to play darts, right? And they go to play darts and she's like, "Is this how you hold it and all this?" And then she's really good at it and she says to him, "I didn't say I didn't know how to play." And they're all like, "Oh, oh, flirty, flirty." And then the thing with Jack and Elizabeth, like they have some flirty moments. So she was taking care of Cody while Abigail was having her date, and Jack comes in and they're all like, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna need more convincing," because they're having like their little words. And he comes over and he's like, "Oh, and he's gonna open mouth, how they kiss, like kiss." And then of course he comes in. I'm like, there's like so much flirting going on.
yeah.
And then they were what were they? Oh, they were out there looking at the property that Jack bought. And he says to her, "Do you have any ideas?" And she goes, "Oh, well, we're going to need a room for your mother, and that kind of thing." And then she talks about, "I can see we'll have to have a feather bed for your blankie." And then she teases him about his blankie. And he goes, "My mother tells too many stories." And then he's like, they suggest like, "Oh, something to keep, well, we'll find a way to keep warm." And then they're kissing. And I'm like, what? This is like, what kind of risque? Well, it's not really, but they went, I know I keep saying this, I'm a broken record, but they went backwards. Usually a show that's been on for a while loosens up. They went the other way. They got tighter, with what was okay and what wasn't.
And in counterpoint to Jack and Elizabeth and their flirty ways, I really enjoyed, surprise, surprise, Pastor Frank and Abigail, because
Yes.
he was very proper, almost prim. And I remember them walking their horses and talking and finally coming to the conclusion of, so are we like really officially courting now? And
Hmm.
they had to agree on it. And her standing up for him with the town, she was the only voice of reason that, said, come on, give the guy
Right.
a break. Yeah. I really, really enjoyed that whole courtship.
What about Bill and Dottie's little courtship? Like that wasn't really a courtship. He
No,
used her.
it's like one step forward, two steps back. I still, to this day, I mean, are they friends or are they going to
No,
put them
not
together?
Molly, Dottie.
Oh, Dottie,
Bill,
sorry,
we're
sorry.
talking about this season. I'm sorry, Dottie.
Okay.
He thought she knew something and he could get information out of her. So he starts paying attention to her and makes a big deal for her birthday. And he's all Mr. Smoozy. And someone over here said, like, he would bend the rules to get what he wanted. You are correct. And I always felt bad back then. And then rewatching it, I was like, he's using her. And she was kind of excited because her husband turned out to be a turd. You know what I mean? He wasn't a nice man. And yeah.
I
Mm.
find that Bill, uh, on the regular, overestimates his little powers of deduction. I'll just leave it at that. I like Bill, but he really gets too big for his britches sometimes. He always thinks he's gotcha, and then it ends up, he falls flat on his face with it.
Right. So I guess it was, the whole he wanted to get Henry, right? And then his ex-wife was going to be marrying Henry. There's that accident, all of that. And so I guess he thinks that he could get to Henry through Dottie, which just was like so mean
Yeah.
in general, like, uh, well, that's okay. Not everybody's perfect. I get it. I get it. I don't know. They
He
just,
felt like the ends justified the means, and
right,
yeah.
right, right.
The other thing I liked about season 3 were the menfolk, and they tended to really come together when one of them needed help or
Yep.
support. And I'm thinking of the gang that came to get Frank.
Yes.
And Frank was going to go out there, if I recall correctly, he was going to go out there on his own and just be brave. And Jack went out with him, and Bill, that may have been it, but the three of them together took care of the bad guys. And I loved it. I loved it when the guys came together to fend off the threat.
And they all came together to go help with the mudslide at
Yeah,
the end, towards the
yeah.
end. I mean, the whole town came together, and Jesse was helping out, and then you could see that, Clara was like no longer real upset, and like man started to warm towards him. There was just like so much that went on in this season. I mean, in this season, it was like jam-packed with all kinds of good stories. And they married Elizabeth. They married not Elizabeth. They married Lee and Rosemary off fast, didn't they?
They did.
And this is not. I don't think I made this one of my trivia questions. I didn't. But Opal, I forgot that Opal was her flower girl because she's also was also Elizabeth's flower girl too, and I forgot that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned this to everyone here or you, because I forget when we talk behind in the scene. I mean, be in the studio in here. Did I say this already? That this is when we get to meet Timmy? Did I tell everybody out here? I don't know if I. This is when we meet Timmy because he's out in the He's one of the boys that's in the with the families that are in
Came
the
into the hills or the
tenement.
mudslide. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I don't know. It was a really good season. I enjoyed revisiting it. Let's see what people are saying here, and then I have a little trivia, we can all play. Let's see what we got going on here. Um, Harper's dad. Yes, that was Harper's dad that died. Yes, you are correct. And when they come back to town, Abigail's like right there for them. Like she knows how that feels,
So was
like,
Frank.
yeah. Pardon me?
So was Frank.
Yes,
They really
yes.
complimented each other because they had that compassion thing going on. They really related to people and they understood the pain of loss and they could really comfort folk.
Yeah. Janice is saying she thinks Pascal and Kevin do wonderful comedy together. I so agree with
Yeah,
you.
they're like Tracy and Hepburn. They
I
just do
know.
so many projects together.
I know they're good. Christine was saying, I have a feeling that in season 10, Faith is going to be sassy again. Well, good.
I
She
hope
needs to
so.
find her sass. I love that. Oh, I loved how Lee cringed every time Rosie called him honey bunny. Oh gosh. I know. Yes, it was Harper's dad that died. Um, yes, the fog in some of the episodes was wild. You were right. I think it was a rainy season for them up there. It really was. Yeah. Um, this one. Erin talked about it a while back when Elizabeth found Jack lying in the river. She ran through the mud to reach him, and it was all over her dress.
Yep.
Yes, it was. I mean, like it was so thick. It's like the kind where your shoe could get stuck in. They were constantly in the water, and there was even really real rushing water. And then they put those logs in front of it, and you could see that it was going to become a mudslide. That was like all real. That was like fake set. I think Florence is usually the leader in going against anyone she thinks is bad.
She sure did against Henry. Remember when she popped him?
Yeah. Yes, that's just also when Elizabeth buys the row house. And this is also when Elizabeth is writing her book. Right? There's a lot of stuff that happens. All right. I thought about the reality of the mud when Elizabeth and men went looking for Jack after he'd been washed away by the river. Elizabeth ran down the hill. Her skirt was dragged in the mud. Yes, you are
She's
correct.
gonna find her man though.
Yeah. And Lillian wants to redeem Bill. Bill helped Dottie with the insurance guy who was trying to cheat her. Yeah. And Bill was one of the problems of why people didn't like Lucas.
Jump it. That's it. Bill is a conclusion jumper.
Yes, he is.
And that's he gets that first thing stuck in his head and it takes a while to get prove that for him to understand he's wrong or believe he's wrong.
Yeah, I agree. How about when Jack took the boys camping and then Elizabeth brings the girls? That was a great scene. There was like so many fun things in here. I can't even. They started off, I think, with the total we're done in the very beginning with Charles. That storyline, they shut it down and then they kept on going. I think Bill was not always a fan of Jack. Like he is not always a fan of Lucas. You're correct. But then they got to be.
Yeah, Bill considered him a son.
Yeah.
At the end, yeah.
He has many contradictions. I loved his scene with Robert, who was running away from home. Elizabeth asked Opal if she wanted her to sing her um, a song, and Opal said no. Elizabeth tells her, what? What's that one?
Tough Room.
I really love Pastor Frank's character. Wish he was still on. Yeah,
You
many
and me
do.
both, Sharon.
Rosemary and Lee actually kissed, not that chase stuff they were doing now. That's true at first. They really, well, they were, early on. Well, they had kissed so many times. I think they got over that. And Bill is set in his ways. Here's a question. And then I want to do the little trivia thing. She was trying tough room. Okay. When Peter Frank takes the boy for his eye surgery, he says he stays there. Kathy, why do you think he felt his mission was elsewhere and if he left Abigail?
Because the powers that be decided he needed to leave the show, and they need to find storyline for Henry. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
You always say that.
Yeah, because then they focused on Henry trying to get with Abigail. I mean, he was a great character, and you haven't seen that element of the show since, in my opinion. I mean, I know that Joseph is acting as the pastor now, but you don't get that real thread of what the pastor does running through the show anymore.
And I think it's because Joseph has a lot of other jobs too.
Yeah.
Actually, we only really, well, I don't know. We did see it when he was like a voice of reason to people. But in this one, Frank was going out to the sites, and Abigail was baking bread and bringing apples and packing food and
comforting Harper's dad
yes,
as he passed on, and then
yes,
going and comforting the family to
yes,
when he had to tell them that
yes,
the dad had passed. Yeah.
yes,
and
yes,
and nurturing and mentoring Jesse away from the
yes,
bad guys, and uh, yeah.
yeah. Someone was saying, I don't mean to be negative, but I heard that it was Lori that wanted Pastor Frank to leave the show. I don't know about that. You know how those rumors
You know what? I
roll.
remember seeing around that time a
Yep.
message from Lori that said, you know what, they're thinking that, maybe Pastor Frank will leave the campus if you don't canvas. If
Yeah.
you're not happy about that, make your voice heard. I
Yeah.
personally, what I recall of it is she was very supportive of him.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought so too. Okay. All right. We're going to before we go back to a few more things before we take questions. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Just one more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
In my heart of hearts, I write my own backstory for these characters.
Yes.
And I would absolutely love it if off camera, maybe a letter comes back to Elizabeth and it says, Frank came to town by happenstance and we got together and we're together now and we're going to get married or whatever. And maybe someday if and when Abigail comes back, she'll bring Frank with her. That's my little hope, my little dream.
Okay. I'm going to highlight. I like some comments that are out there, and I'm not ignoring you. I'm highlighting. I thought, let me throw this in before we get too tired. Let's see. Okay. So we have up. I should take. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me take that one off so we have more room. So if you can see this, you see all the children are sleeping. They're in Abigail's cafe. So this is a trivia question for y'all. This part of what was Rosemary's job was to be the teacher for the day because Elizabeth was going out to see the kids out in the settlement, and Abigail was going with them. And I think they were trying to get them back, right? Try to get them to come back. All right. So when they come back, they are shocked that Rosemary has them all asleep because Elizabeth goes, I never get them to do that. And she goes, oh my gosh, it was a rough day. And does anyone remember how she got them all to go to sleep? That's one of my trivia questions for you. Let's see who remembers how she got them all to go to sleep. What she did. Oh, all right. Martha was first. Right? She's 8:31 my time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Martha said she promised them if they all took a rest, the circus was coming to town. All right, Martha. I'm putting your name down, Martha. Where are you? Martha did it. Martha Henson. All right. She said I bribed them, and they're like, "With what?" And she said that the circus would come to town. Oh gosh, what a disaster! All right, this character here, she was out. This is when we were introduced to her, and she is it what's her name? Myra McCormick, I think. And she is out in the tents and she refuses to come back. She's just going to stay there and let the flood take her away. She's a widow. She's grumpy. Her husband's gone and all that. And Abigail said, I'll throw you over my shoulder. You're getting on that, uh, back of that cart. And I was going to say truck, and you're coming with us. We get to see her again, and she's herself. And she appears again in what episode? Does anybody know? Yes, Mrs. McCormick, you're right. What episode does she appear in again? And she's still as crotchety as ever, but she has like a little redemption. Yes, she wouldn't leave. You are correct. But we see her again. We're introduced to her that, yes. Very good, Deb. She is in the Christmas episode, and Carson goes out to see her and brings the kids to sing, and she doesn't want to hear about it. And then in the end, she makes them gingerbread cookies, I think. Good. That was Deb Johnson. Good job. And I think it was season 5 that like she was introduced in 3, but that didn't come up until season 5. And they actually got the same actress again, which I thought was kind of cool, All right. Oh, I didn't mean to remove it. All right. What's this? You are my inspiration. What is this? I photographed. I mean, took a photo of it. Yeah. Anyone know? Yes, she does make Carson dinner. Yes, the glorious Christmas specials. Who knows what this is? You are my inspiration. It's from season 3. Yes. 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 All right, let's see. Hold on. We're moving fast over there. The typewriter is what Deb Johnson said. And Elizabeth wrote this to Jack when he gave her the typewriter. Very good. But Deb Johnson, that's Deb again. She got that correct. Good. And Kathy, you may have given this away, but my last one was, so Mama Thornton comes to town, and what is her secret ingredient in everything she makes? This one was an easy one. Let's see who's got it. And I love that her book is, yes, Rona got it, Lar. Oh, wait a minute. No, oh, wait a minute. They all popped up. Wait. Oh, gosh, it just comes up so fast. Who got it first?
It looks like Deb Johnston.
Yes. Well, Deb, you are the winner tonight. I'm going to be sending you a little prize. I think I already have your address. Yeah, look at you. Good. It was definitely lard. And at the end, she says to her when she's leaving, you're going to have to, teach me your recipe for shepherd's pie, right? Like she says, I know that my cooking isn't that great. Oh, goodness. Okay. So I wanted to revisit some of the things that people were writing here. And I think I covered everything I wanted to cover on this season. It was just so packed with everything. Lillian. Rosemary's shocked when we didn't even talk about this, when Hickam, Mary Dunbar, and even Molly get parts in the movie, but she doesn't. So remember, she's in that wedding dress and she cries, she's sitting on the step. And then that's when Lee said, would you be my wife? Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
I know. That was cute. It was cute. I definitely agree that they have toned down the episodes. I think some of the early shows were more realistic.
Which
Yeah.
was a good thing. I don't know why they felt the need to make it more, I don't know what the word is.
Yeah. Oh, tough room. Yes. When Opal says, yeah, no to okay, no, she want to because she was feeling lonely. Yes, she was homesick. All right. So I wanted to address the issue that I said we will come back to. Um, Someone was asking a question and we can help each other out here. I think it was about the DVDs. Did I not highlight it? Oh, hold on. There we go. All right, Miriam has a question. I'm a little hesitant to ask because I don't want to be negative, but just wondering if anyone has ever had any problems with their When Calls the Heart DVDs mechanically. Has anyone out there? I mean, I have them, but I never watch them because I don't have a DVD player. Yeah.
I kind of have the DVD set, but I haven't watched them yet because I also bought the seasons streaming. So I
Hmm.
tend, because I'm so
Yes,
lazy, I
me
don't feel
too.
like getting up to put it in the machine.
Yeah.
So I tend to watch the.
Um, Martha, so I have everyone's address. I think that I need. I'm just thinking about like the DVDs that people probably get them because they have all like the outtakes on them and stuff, and that's the
And
only
the
way. Yeah.
deleted scenes, yeah.
Brian Bird wants the show to be more of a fantasy and avoid the grittiness of real life, I guess. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. No problem. They're saying no problem out there. Martha's saying she hasn't had any problems. So, I what exactly, Miriam, what exactly is happening? Maybe if you shared a little bit more, like does it skip? Because some it's very easy to scratch them or damage them yourself, or maybe the way they were shipped, they could have been damaged. You can always call Edify and ask Elliot. He picks up the phone himself and you can have a conversation with him. So I mean that you send you go on the Edify page film website, and then you actually fill out an email and you leave your number and everything, but there's also a phone number there too and you can call. They are in Washington, so you want to be careful of the time zones. I forget who's where, but yeah. That's interesting. You know what? Why Mary Dunbar was already married to Dwight Graves. Why did Hickam refer to her in her maiden name? Maybe because she wanted to have a stage name when she was like maybe she got the bug and she wanted to have a stage name, so she used her maiden name. But sometimes that stuff kind of gets cut out of the script, so we only see certain parts, and then there's like a disconnect. I don't know what's making me think that. I know that for some reason. I'm sorry, I have an itchy eye. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um, Everyone's saying no problems with their DVD. Is the extras. Yes, that's what I was saying. A lot of people. Oh, here's Lillian. She said, once in a while the DVD freezes and starts back up. Ah, So that's another thing. You want to make sure that your DVDs are bought directly from Edify, because what happens is they like Elliot said people make copies of them and sell them all over the place, and that's one of his big things that he's going all over the place trying to get them taken down, or lawsuit against them or whatever. So it's important that they come straight from Edify, otherwise they are bootlegged. Yes, here we go. There are a lot of pirated DVDs out there. Yes, there are. Yes. I've had problems with my TV itself. Okay. Well, Miriam, does it pick up correctly when it unfreezes? Oh, wondering if like it skips or not. Yeah. So you bought them on Amazon. Do they sell them on Amazon?
I think they do.
Hmm. I don't know. They do? And that goes to really? I'm wondering because a lot of times things that are sold on Amazon are second hand like sellers. It doesn't unfreeze, she said. Walmart sells them. Yes, and that would be Edify just putting them out to there. I get that. Yeah. Okay. All go direct. That's what she's saying. She's bought all of them from there. Okay. Some of them for sale, those for sale on Amazon were available right after season 9 ended. So that's how you know it's actually not legit because Edify takes a while to put it out. Yeah. Good. Make sure you call and see what they have to say.
And the
Yeah.
price you paid for it is another way of telling, because if it's
Yes.
ridiculously cheap, it probably is bootleg.
Yeah. Alice is saying that they yes they do, they sell for Edify. Nothing else. You cannot buy any other When Calls the Heart merchandise on Amazon. It's not from Edify. Anything that you buy from there is like bootlegged. Okay. All right. I was just curious. Okay, so I think I covered everything that I had learned or wanted to discuss. Oh, we didn't say this at the end. So we meet Cody and Becky in the beginning. They go through all their ups and downs. Anna was Hattie was mean to Anna, but then Anna was mean to Cody. Remember when she sat next to Cody and they were doing the spelling bee, and she's like, "Well, my mom's going to is going to help me study because they wanted that certificate." And she goes, "Well, Miss Abigail's gonna help me. That's not like your real mom. She doesn't love you like my mom
Yeah,
loves me." And I
he
thought,
was such a
oh,
little bee.
what a tear, like it killed me. And so then he's feeling neglected. And in the end, that's when he says that he wants to call her mom. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
I loved the two of them. I thought that they were great. And
Bonded quite nicely with someone else, but nobody cared about that.
what happened?
I said he also bonded very nicely with a male figure in his life, but apparently that wasn't important enough to keep it going.
I
So
I know. Okay. You're back at that. Okay. The other thing, that was so cool. I'll have to look. The other thing that I also liked about that relationship was I don't know, it felt real. It didn't happen right away. It was like this little gradual, and he had moments where he was mean to Jack. "You're not my dad," in one of the episodes. So it wasn't like it only happened in one episode. That's something that was in each of the episodes and played out. That I like. And then remember I liked how they had their self-contained and then it moved on. So anyway,
I said earlier there was a redemption theme that ran through the season, but there was also a forgiveness theme. And so there was they forgave Frank, they forgave Hattie and moved on. And even Bill and Nora, remember they had some big issues with their late child. Do I have a life-size poster of Frank? No, but I've got a soundproof cellar that's just waiting. Never mind.
she says goofy stuff like that. It's so hilarious. Where she wants to tie him up down there. So
You know, he does woodworking and carpentry too. He's very
yeah.
good at that. So I've got a few projects in that soundproof cellar. I was going to ask if you could take a look.
Oh my gosh. Kathy, do you have a life size poster of Frank? I thought that was funny. And then where's this one? Poor Kathy, they took her man away.
Yes. Finally, you are my peeps. People who get me. Thank you.
I know. So I'm fortunate that Cody was dropped also. I know. That was
But they could have found a way to bring him back without Abby. So I'm wondering if maybe he or his family decided, well, this is a good, let's go move on to other projects. That just
mhm,
didn't seem necessary to me. I could see him going off with her, but
mhm.
I'm sending Cody back. I entrust his care to you guys while I'm dealing with my stuff. I just didn't get that. He could
Yeah,
have
well,
lived. He could
we
have lived
figured
with.
out how we could get him to stay.
Hmm.
Who will be your leading man of your guest role on When Calls the Heart, Frank or Lucas?
I don't see why I should have to choose, frankly. That's why God invented Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So there you have it.
She's not choosing. Listen, Christine. I have contact as a gift. I wanted to surprise Kathy, and they don't respond. But he only has the one manager, and I don't know. I don't know. I tried so many times. He's like incognito somewhere. I cannot. I tried. That doesn't mean I won't try again. I'll try. Yeah. Um, okay. So not that I want to end on a bad note, but I want to end on something that's a little controversial here. You know me, I don't want to be negative, okay? But I want to be honest. So when I go back and I look through this, Erin Krakow, I love her acting. She's great. And I love Pastor Frank. He was fabulous. Um, I look at even Brooke Shields coming on and playing her part. Excellent. The children, all of them, really, really good, cute, and some of them had some tough things like Cody. That was tough, the part that he had to play. When Jack has to be all like, he's like, Jack, the actor, not Jack the actor, but Jack the character. He's like, he makes that face. Okay, you help the men here, and he's like, he's too dramatic for me. Like, I feel like he's acting. I don't feel like it's so natural. Like, it bothered me. And there was a lot of action in this one. And when the big action comes, like, I feel like his acting skills, I don't know. I don't know. They're not as sharp and believable as Erin Krakow, as Lori. Lori had a lot of drama in this one, and she was believable and fabulous. So it kind of it made him look even more so like a little out of place to me. This is just me. Don't hate me. I'm just saying in this part here, okay, for this season.
I wonder if his acting style was more geared toward the movie part of his career with doing the Hallmark movies, and maybe
Yeah.
Lifetime. I don't remember, but he did some other movies. I never was totally impressed with him. I didn't actually feel a lack, but I don't know. I don't know if that's particularly controversial because it's been 6 years now,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and you
Deb,
got some people who agree with you.
finally, that's what I've always thought. Yeah, and it's okay. They did have wonderful, great chemistry together, the two. I love that. I did. And their flirty parts. That's when it was believable. I'm talking more about the drama part.
Yeah, and I never ever thought, I wonder if something's going on with Daniel and Aaron because their scenes together are just va va voom, as I do with perhaps others of her leading men, where it's like, is anybody married here? What's going on? So I think that I was always aware that the couple part of them was acting. That there was
Yeah.
I didn't think there was natural chemistry. I don't think it was bad. I mean, but I just didn't get a sense that there was natural chemistry. I think they liked each other. They seemed to be pretty friendly. Yeah.
Perhaps Daniel felt that a Mountie should be somewhat stiff. That's true. That's not what I mean, though. His acting, like when it was dramatic, he makes this face and go here and you do here, like, and I was like, oh, for God's sakes, I can act better than you in this part right here. You
Was,
know,
it,
when
was,
he was
that,
giving.
was that Blue Steel?
Oh, I can't breathe. Don't start. Don't. We can't start because it'll be all right. Maybe he's subconscious about his accent. Could be. Yeah, could be. Could be. Yeah. But I'm telling you, he had really, I loved the comedy part when he was being a little snarky or funny or romantic. All of that. Good, good, good. I liked. Like when Jack sets up the inspector Mountie with Bill. Yes. Yeah. I was never a fan of Dan. Oh gosh, now we're going to trash poor Dan. Dan, I don't mean that. I'm sorry. I was never a fan of Dan's acting, but I loved the Jack and Elizabeth story, so I overlooked it. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah.
There's one other thing from not so much season 3, but the earlier episodes in general. Does anyone else miss the cameos? They used to have some. Whoever did the casting was like out of sight. They would have little cameos, mostly with Hallmark stars, but others too, like Andrew Walker. Um, well, Charles Marcus Rosner was
What about Brooke Shields?
yeah, Brooke Shields. And
Yeah.
you don't see that anymore from the later seasons. And I really, it was a cool to tune in. It's like, oh my gosh, look who that is. Usually a totally good
Yeah.
actor playing
Yeah.
a rotter, on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the only time though that we really got like oh was when Lucas's mom came on. That was a goodie. I liked having her on.
Yeah, I like
Who was
her.
the showrunner for season 3? Back then it was actually Brian Bird and Michael Landon, but they didn't really do showrunner a little bit till a little bit later. And is it oh no, it's not Alfonso, is it? I don't remember. We're
Is
gonna
the
look it up.
showrunner the producer?
Showrunner. Yeah, one of the EPs, executive producer. Yes. How about when James Brolin showed up as Jedediah? How about remember? Oh, I loved him. He played his nemesis. This was a couple seasons ago. He played oh, I love him. Box.
Oh, Bruce Boxleitner. Oh my gosh, I loved him. I was in tears when they took him away because it was like the end of an era. He was
Yeah.
like, before you take me to jail, can you? No, can I just have the night?
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
stiff now. I can't. Oh,
Yeah.
he was so good.
Yeah.
I think he'd be good as Lucas's dad if we hadn't already seen
Yeah.
him as.
I know if you hadn't. So you are correct, Brian. I didn't think it was too early for him, for Alfonso, when calls the heart. I feel like it was Michael and Brent and um Michael Landon and Brian. I'll have to go back and look. It's a good question to ask. Alrighty. Well, we covered season 3 and we're going to be covering season 4. So I don't like to make my announcements until I get a real confirmation about who our guest is going to be. But sometimes things happen and they even though they say yes, they're and it was like I had just posted everything, put everything out, and then I was like, are you kidding me? No. It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. All good, good, good. All right. I do have your addresses and I am just hanging on if you all want to say hi to each other or whatever. If Kathy wants to talk, I'm going to see if I can find that answer right now in my little database
For who the showrunner is?
for season 3. Yeah. And it's funny. I feel like they had less, but they did more. Do you know what I mean? Like they had less bells and whistles, but their storylines were richer and they had more.
And they didn't rely on gimmicks.
Yes.
Team this and team that. They didn't have any of that nonsense.
Yes. Yes. You were right. I'm looking to see if I could find out anything. Oh, what about that? Lori Loughlin produced, I forgot she was producing some of them. Lori Loughlin was starting to produce. She wasn't a showrunner, but she was producing some of the episodes. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, it's Brian Bird and Michael Landon. And then Lori. But she wasn't a showrunner. She was sort of like when Aaron Krakow got that spot too. Oh, well. Yeah, agreed. A good blueprint for the new showrunner. Who will be the guest next week? I don't know. I wasn't trying to tease. I honestly don't know. Not sure. Is there anyone? You know what? This is a question. Do you have a request, anyone, for season 4 and 5 and 6? I already will tell you that yes, I have reached out to Lori. I have reached out to Dan. Poor guy, if he sees this, is not coming on. He's like skipping you. I have reached out to. I think I asked for the actor who plays Cody to come on, and we'll see. Yeah, a good blueprint. Anybody? The teams almost destroyed the show. So many hard feelings caused by that. Oh, I don't even. They're dumb. They didn't destroy the show. They're dumb. That was dumb. All of that was dumb. 2 different casting directors, one in the USA, and one for Canada.
Ah,
Yeah, I think you're correct, Arlene. They talked about that. Um, I want to address this GAC story. I almost said boys and girls. I don't mean, I'm still in teacher mode. I had a big day. I'm tired. I injured myself and I had a rough day today. But anyway, um, that doesn't mean that they cannot come on to, okay, no channel owns anyone. You go anywhere you want. When you see those exclusive things that they show, it's not because they can't go anywhere. Now that's a GAC thing where GAC says, "Oh, come on, we'll do this and this and this with you. We'll give you a good deal." But by all means, actors can go anywhere. I mean, who knows? Somebody might see Dan or Lori and give them this great deal for ABC or CBS or something. Anybody can go anywhere. They could come to Hallmark. Nobody says no and back and forth. So, yeah. Let's see your scary face, Rock. Scary teacher face. You know what, Lillian? I don't have a scary face, but I have a scary voice. Like, I don't have a scary teacher voice. Like, I have, like, face. It's a voice. It's like, I'm usually very loud and laughing and I dance and jump around. I can't jump around and hurt my leg, but I play music and all of that. And when I am angry with the kids, I say,
dead
that's all.
silence.
Yes. Yes. It's rare that I lose it. Um, Thank you. I hate the attitude about where the actors are seen. You mean because they're GAC? When I got quiet, the students knew I was serious. I'm always serious, though, even when I'm not. Yeah, they're saying they have two different kinds of casting directors. Yes, I gotcha. Okay. All right. We're kind of quiet and winding down. So thank you for joining in. I hope you join us for season 4. I feel like season 5 is going to be where the weird things start happening. Like people are gone more than in, and then they're in and a big thing happens, like a lot of that stuff starting to roll around. It's so season 4, and season 4 is a goodie, and we'll get to talk about the holiday episodes too a little bit more. It'll be fun. All right. Thank you,
Good
everyone.
night, everyone. See you next week.
Yeah. Rona, they're not an exclusive contract doesn't mean that they can't go somewhere else. They can. It just means that they are doing certain things for them, but they can go other places. They can. Yes. All right. Good night, everyone.